If you grew up in the early 2000s, then you almost definitely know about vitamin water. And if you're like me, then you might also have some weird foggy memories of 50 Cent being so heavily associated with the brand. So today, sit back as we look back into the 50 Cent era of vitamin water, how it came to be, and why it was so impactful for both the beverage industries and the hip hop industry. If you've ever heard the phrase, "pay me in equity," you probably wouldn't imagine that it originated from this brand deal between 50 Cent and Vitamin Water in the early 2000s. But it was this very collaboration that would set future standards for how hip-hop artists would interact with brands. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let's jump back to 2004 for a minute. 50 Cent is still very hot off the release of his debut album, Get Rich or Die Trying. And thanks to manager and longtime friend, Chris Lighty, 50 Cent had managed to secure not only a debut album, but its own full-fledged biopic and video game, both of which have become absolutely legendary pieces of media in hip-hop culture. And all of these endeavors would be received with positive reviews and positive revenue, which just doubled as a genius marketing plot for the album. It was clear 50 and his team weren't just aspiring rappers and producers, they were aspiring entrepreneurs too. And thanks to the massive success of all of this, 50 would get his first brand deal ever, getting his own G-Unit line of shoes with Reebok. But he was craving more. He started crafting his own brand of flavored water called Formula 50. And one day, 50 told Lighty that he wanted to do a bottled water deal and started explaining his ideas behind it. 50 noticed the price difference between Poland Spring and other bottles of water and saw it as an opportunity to leverage his brand similarly. The idea was actually on brand for 50 also, who at the time was a healthy workout fanatic and publicly didn't drink alcohol. So Chris Lighty hit up his former business partner and occasional Shark Tank guest, Rohan Oza, who was an executive for Coca-Cola and had worked with Chris previously to create the A Tribe Called Quest 1994 commercial with Sprite.
This goes out to all the non-believers in thirst. When we had a thirst to dance, we did it all night. When we had a thirst to rhyme, we broke out the mics. When we had a thirst to dress, we went and got fresh. Image is nothing. The thirst is everything. And obey your thirst, drink Sprite.
But by this point though, Oza had left his job with Coca-Cola and had actually just became the head of Glacéau, Vitamin Water's parent company at the time, and connected the dots. Is it Glacéau? Glacéau? Glacéau, maybe? I don't know. Vitamin Water was already enjoyed by most middle-class, moderately healthy lifestyle families, but the company was at a point where they were striving to connect with really any underground market, just to give it that extra coolness and edge. So Chris Lighty and Rohan Oza crafted a test run. They knew 50's fans already trusted the connection between him and Reebok. So the pair thought, well, what if we do a Reebok commercial, and in that commercial, we have 50 Cent just swig a vitamin water, and kind of talk about how it satisfies his thirst.
Oh! Let me see! They'll hear us.
Cheat, we don't play that, man. Cheat, we don't play that, man. Just don't you see the best of me? So I can go hard. Is it a dream or a nightmare?
Go. Yeah, man.
The new GXT by Reebok, in stores now.
And it went really, really well, with Vitamin Water seeing an immediate increase in sales, specifically within inner city neighborhoods. Looking back, it's insane to see how brilliantly crafted all of these partnerships were for 50 Cent. It really just seemed like everything was just lining up perfectly for him. 50 and Lighty wanted to invest in Glacéau, but they initially pushed back. Not because 50 was asking for too much money. He technically wasn't asking for any money at all. He wanted equity. This was unheard of in the business. Not even just for hip-hop artists, but anyone. No one had ever really asked for equity in a company before due to a brand deal. Instead, they usually opted for the hefty check full of zeros. But after a couple of months of communicating and negotiations, in October 2004, the two sides agreed to a deal where 50 Cent got a 10% stake in his Formula 50 brand, which would be exclusively produced by Glacéau through Vitamin Water. It was risky for Glacéau for sure. I mean, like I just said, there weren't any previous models in the history for how this type of deal should work. They were figuring it out along the way, but man, would it prove fruitful. In late 2004, shortly after finalizing their deal, Vitamin Water would release its new grape-flavored drink, Formula 50. 50 Cent would go on to use his influence to promote this new product all over the place. From being an official spokesperson of the brand, to talking about it in his own interviews centered around his own life and music.
I was in a supermarket and I saw a gallon of water for $2.89.
To even mentioning it in songs.
I took quarter water, sold it in bottles for $2. The Coca-Cola came and bought it for beans. What the fuck?
I mean, he was really doing the most for the brand. And it paid off. Because at the start of 2004, Vitamin Water was estimated to be worth around $100 million. Whereas, just 3 years later in their partnership with 50 Cent, the company would grow to become worth $700 million. They outpaced their own growth predictions by tenfold. And it would not go unnoticed in the beverage world either. With Coca-Cola starting to grow their portfolio to include more juice and water beverages, and Glacéau blowing up more than ever right now, it just lined up perfectly yet again. And on May 25th, 2007, Coca-Cola would acquire Glacéau's parent company, Energy Brands, for a cool $4.1 billion. Yeah, you heard that right. Billions. With a B. And with this, 50 Cent's deal with the brand would finally come to an end. But he would finally get paid out. And while the exact numbers have remained under wraps due to 50 Cent himself publicly not wanting to share the amount, insiders close to the deal reported that it was close to around $100 million he received. I mean, that's insane. Most artists would have just taken the typical deal of being paid anywhere from $50K to a few $100,000 to have their name or likeness or art on a product and just move on with their day. But not 50. He sought out more for himself. He was hungry. And well, I guess you could say he ate. Get it? Get it? That was a funny Gen Z joke. Regardless of 50 Cent's future issues with his bankruptcy and his own failed line of energy shots, which I have talked about in this video here, he would obviously go on to live a happy life, producing and acting in movies and TV with occasional returns to music. Vitamin Water, while not producing the Formula 50 flavor anymore as 50 Cent actually owned the trademark for it, it still is going quite strong, as it's one of, if not the only, enhanced water beverage from that era to truly stand the test of time. And on top of all of that, it managed to impact how artists move forward with their deals and partnerships. I mean, this opened the door for things like Drake's deal with Daring Foods, Jay-Z, Oprah, and Natalie Portman investing in Oatly, Beyonce and Kanye with Adidas, Rihanna with Fenty. I mean, 50 Cent really came in and let artists know that they're not just pawns to be used by big companies for endorsements. You don't need to take a check because that's what's normal, or because it might be tempting in the moment. He let them know they could be the company. They can be the executive behind the stuff that's using their art and their likeness. They can control what's happening with it and how much they get paid. They can do things that will set them up for success in the long run and give them money that won't support just them, but their families, employees, neighborhoods, or whoever for generations. And that to me will always be pretty damn rad. But not as rad as you watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments below. I love talking to you guys, whether it's about the video that, you just watched, or whether you guys give me new video ideas, or just whatever. I really do love chatting with you and interacting. It's like one of my favorite parts of my day, seriously. And as always, classic YouTube style, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want even more nostalgia, don't worry either, because I got a whole playlist full of all these look back videos that you can watch right now. And until then, I will see you in the next video. Peace.